Welcome back, dear viewers, to English Horror Stories. I'm Sarah Alex, and today, we have a chilling treat for you. Before we dive into the abyss, hit subscribe and the notification bell, so you never miss our terrifying tales. Support the channel below. Now, brace yourselves for a nightmarish journey into English horror stories. Title: The Babysitter's Nightmare. Once upon a time, in a small, quiet town, there lived a young babysitter named Lily. She was known for her kindness and love for children. One gloomy evening, she received a call from Mrs. Johnson, a mother in desperate need of a babysitter. Mrs. Johnson's voice trembled over the phone as she explained her situation. She needed to attend an emergency event and her regular babysitter had cancelled at the last moment. Lily, being a responsible teenager, agreed to help. Little did she know that this night would turn into a nightmare she would never forget. As Lily arrived at the Johnsons' house, she was greeted by two sweet children, Timmy and Sophie. They were polite, well-behaved, and had sparkling blue eyes that seemed to hold a secret. Mrs. Johnson left in a hurry, and before long, the children were fast asleep. Lily sat in the dimly lit living room, engrossed in a book. The old grandfather clock in the corner of the room ticked loudly. The house seemed unusually quiet, and the walls felt like they were closing in. Lily couldn't shake off the feeling that something was not quite right. Suddenly, a soft, eerie melody filled the air. It was a haunting tune, like a whisper in the wind. Lily looked around but couldn't figure out where the sound was coming from. She crept down the hallway, the melody growing louder, until she reached the children's room. The door was slightly ajar, and she peeked inside. Timmy and Sophie were sitting up in their beds, their eyes now glowing with an unnatural, faint blue light. They were singing the strange melody, their voices sweet yet spine-chilling. Lily watched in horror as the room seemed to transform. Shadows danced on the walls, and the temperature dropped dramatically. As Lily continued to watch, she saw an ancient, evil presence materialize in the room. It was a shadowy figure with red, piercing eyes and long, gnarled fingers. It reached out towards the children, and they giggled in response. The supernatural connection between them and the ancient evil was undeniable. Lily knew she had to act quickly. She quietly left the room, not daring to make a sound. She remembered reading a passage in her book about banishing evil spirits. She hurried to the kitchen and gathered salt, a bowl, and a small candle. Returning to the children's room, she sprinkled a circle of salt around their beds and placed the candle in the center. She lit the candle, and the flame danced with an otherworldly light. Lily began chanting the words from the book, focusing on driving the evil presence away. As she chanted, the room grew even colder, and the shadows writhed in protest. The children's eyes stopped glowing, and they looked at her in confusion. Lily could feel the battle between good and evil intensify. With a final incantation, the ancient evil shrieked and vanished in a puff of black smoke, leaving behind an oppressive silence. The room returned to normal, and the children were freed from the supernatural connection. Lily put the candle out and comforted Timmy and Sophie, who had no memory of what had just transpired. Mrs. Johnson returned home, unaware of the terrifying events that had unfolded. Lily left the Johnsons' house, knowing that she had faced a babysitter's nightmare beyond imagination. She never spoke of that night to anyone, but in the years that followed, she would always remember the eerie melody, the glowing eyes, and the ancient evil that she banished to protect two innocent children. And as for Timmy and Sophie, they grew up as normal children, never realizing the horror that had been averted by their brave babysitter, Lily. That was spine-tingling. If you survived this horror journey, thumbs up and share your thoughts below. For more hair-raising stories, subscribe and hit the bell. More bone-chilling content coming soon.